Hi folks, this isn't New York, we're in Utah. We're in the famous Flaming Gorge. And today we're going to be fishing with Jim Perrick, and we're going to be fishing for, well gosh, this body of water has lake trout, rainbow trout, brown trout. It's got just about everything. But we're going to be fishing primarily for rainbows. And since it's the middle of summer, we're going to have to fish deep. But it should be really interesting because this is a different type of fishing than I've really done before. And so we're going to learn some of the techniques together. I'm sure there's a lot of deep water reservoirs and lakes around the country that in the summer sometimes it can be tough to find the fish. But Jim's going to help us learn just how to do that today. It's been a beautiful ride over here in the boat. We've gone through some magnificent cliffs, and we're even hoping to see some bighorn sheep today. Well, here's what we're doing. We're going to be trolling right along a cliff. Now, Flaming Gorge is in the northern part of Utah, right, Jim?
Yes, northeastern.
And it borders Wyoming and Utah. And there's 90-some miles of water. It wanders in and out around the cliff edges, narrow in places like where we are now. And there's an awful lot of fish in this body of water. So what we're doing now is we're following along this cliff, and it's 100 feet deep here. And remember, since it's summer, 90 degrees every day, those fish are going to go deep. You're marking fish at 80 feet or something, aren't you?
Everywhere from about 64, there's two that, at 102 right now, so they're down there.
Tell us what we're going to do today. How are we going to fish these?
Well, first of all, we're going to try to get down to where we're marking them with the downriggers. We're going to, if we can find them a little higher than 102, because that's probably max down there, right on the bottom. Right now, we're not really going for max. We're going to go after rainbow or kokanie. So our prime target right now is rainbow and kokanie. They're really not showing up yet any higher than 102.
Now we've got some little bitty lures on that we'll show you after we catch some fish, but we're using small offerings. But Jim has a dodger on that one, right, to attract them. A dodger's a big spoon, and we'll show you that as well. And that's what we're doing right now. Is now we're hunting them. Now we're going to cover the water and see if we can attract something to hit our lures. And then if that happens, we're going to stop the boat and we'll battle that fish together. I have no idea what to expect, but that's what makes it so much fun. When you don't know what to expect, it's always more exciting. I'm looking for sheep up there in those cliffs. I do have a fish on, don't I?
Yeah, it might be a mac.
Okay, why don't you, we can't shut that off?
Yeah, you bet. Let me.
This is really weird because my downrigger didn't release.
Can you feel life?
Huh?
Can you feel him?
Yeah, I feel him. He's on there.
Good.
You know, it was one of those things, to tell you the truth. Probably shouldn't tell you this, but it's one of those.
Oh, you got a good one, Don.
It's one of those nature calls things. And I was getting ready, and we had the little portable can out, and I looked, and I saw my rod going like this, and my downrigger didn't release. And I said to Jim, do I have a strike on there? Because when your downrigger releases, wow. When your downrigger releases, your rod goes straight. Well, this wasn't.
It's a dandy.
Oh, shouldn't we bring this one up?
Better be.
No, actually, wait till you see the lure that we're using. It's a really small lure with a little bitty hook. And so that's why I'm thinking to myself, oh.
You gaining on him any?
Yeah, I'm gaining a lot on him. What do you think I got?
It looks like a lake trout the way it sounded.
Does it?
Uh-huh.
I may not act as excited as I am, but my heart's in my mouth, really. See, this is really neat. We're out here in a little 14-foot boat, 15-foot. These are like Not really complicated downriggers, are they?
Oh, no.
What do you think? Are you excited?
Yeah. My heart's racing, too. I'm just, wait till you see it. That's going to be a neat.
I'm not sure. Okay. What pound test do we got on here?
8.
Okay. Believe it or not, my arm's aching because I'm nervous. The rod I'm using is like a bass rod. It's a stiff rod.
That's a good ache, isn't it?
It is a good ache. Well, I know that most of the ache is caused from nerves. I'm tensing my arm out. If there wasn't, hopefully, a whole lot of people watching right now, I wouldn't be as nervous. But you want to catch it so bad. Oh. Oh, I see it. He's coming up. Yep. What is it?
Yeah, it's a Laker.
Is it?
Uh-huh.
Very good.
That's about a 3.5 pounder.
Is it?
Bet. 3 to 4.
You thought I had a lot bigger fish, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, didn't you?
Yes, I did, and I was nervous, and I was worried. Well, this is neat, though. All right, let's hold him right there. Now, that blood is from just his mouth, right? Okay. Now, tell us how you would release that fish so he won't be hurt.
Okay. We got to get him over, and just if he seems a little stunned, it's just he's worked hard to get up here, so we just kind of pump him a little bit.
Okay.
Once you feel some life, he'll be ready to go.
Now, if you
that
don't
stuff right there is just the worm that was off the.
Yeah. Now, if you don't think he'll live, there he goes.
Yeah,
He swam down great.
He's a
so
healthy fish.
they will live, bringing them up.
Oh, you bet.
As long as you don't bring them.
A lot of times, if you bring them up too fast, their bladders or whatever, their air sac will pop, and you'll see a whole bunch of bubbles.
Yeah.
Then you've killed him. But he didn't. He isn't hurt.
Yeah, we brought him up so slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me show you what we're using. This, you tell them what we're using since you invented the lure. It's your thing.
Well, we started out trying to figure out how to make a fly swim, but we ended up finding out that there's a lot of other things you can put it on, like this spoon. It not only gives it a good fish swimming action, but it tracks so that it doesn't spin your line up.
Yeah, you see this? Let me show you again here. You see, these are called Thunderhead lures, right? Mm-hmm. I don't want to screw this up for you, Jim. And you see this special type of lip. This is what makes it do very, very special things in the water, and we'll show you that a little later. And normally, the Thunderhead lures are flies and jigs, but in this case, there's a little spoon, as you can see here, and on the end of that, another little spinner with a piece of a worm. And that's what we caught that on. So let's get out and see if we can get another one.
Okay.
I know we're getting in close to shore, and you probably want to back us up.
I just want.
Well, I thought it might be a good thing to show you this before we let out again. You see, there's the lure, and there's just a little piece of worm. That's all the size you need?
Mm-hmm. That's all we use. Because then it waggles like a little tail when that blade starts that metal blade.
Now, this hook, if you can see, and I think we can, that hook has got wire wrapped around it.
Just so the worm don't slide down it.
So just put this on, and what do you have to do?
You just
thread it on like a screw?
It's a little harder. I want to get a tighter wrapped worm keeper. Yeah, just go ahead and push it all the way up to as far as you can. Perfect. You got it.
If I got it on enough?
And then now it won't slide down, and just make sure the tail is straight out. Maybe just a little bit more.
So kind of want the tail out, just like I try to teach people about plastic worms. So if it's out like that, then it works right. Okay? Is that right? Now let's explain about these downriggers too, because a lot of people with little boats might not have ever used them thinking that it's a big hassle, and maybe it isn't. So what do we do now?
Okay, now you get going and let out what you think. Well, I usually let out 30 feet behind the boat, maybe.
Okay. All right. We'll say I'm out far enough. All right. Now what?
Okay, then. If you just want to.
Yeah. Now you explain to him what you're doing.
Okay. You just take your line and put it in the release. Then I just back off my drag, and then let your ball down to.
Tell them that they have a little gauge.
Yeah, there's a depth gauge here. Right now I'm down to 13, 20. You caught that one at what, 70?
Yeah, I was down at 75 feet.
Okay, we'll go back down to 75 feet if we're deep enough. Yeah, we're 85 on the graph.
And that's it?
But it's a good way to get monofilament down. Uh-oh, it released.
And then you just reel forward and that stops the ball from going, right?
Uh-huh.
See, I guess my job back here is to tell them that we're going in 47, 48 feet.
Okay, I got you up to 40, so you should be out of the woods now.
Okay. And that's all there is to it, right?
Yeah, then you just set it and you're fishing at a determined depth that if you find them on the on the depth finder, you can fish right across them.
Okay, now what we do, I mean, do you want this a little tighter or not?
Yeah, load up the pole just so there's an arch
now
in
you
it.
see what I'm doing with the rod tip? I'm getting it doubled up about like that. Maybe about like that. Now, I'm watching that rod tip. Now, hopefully, if the releases, when a strike comes, that rod will just go straight. And then it'll start jiggling like we're used to. So that's what we're doing. And now we wait again. And we look and watch. Well, I'm on to another one. All we've done is turn around, heading back. I know I must look crazy because I just put sunscreen on, sitting right down there, and I haven't even had a chance to rub it in. But you all know what it is, and you know that I know it's there too, and that I'm not goofing out here. And this doesn't feel like a Laker.
Might be a Kokanie, man.
See, it's coming up.
Is he fighting in little spurts?
Well, there now. If you watch my rod tip, you can see it just going doop doop doop. There he goes down.
Yeah, that almost looks like a Kokanie.
Does it?
Uh-huh.
Geez, we just turned around.
Well, I don't know, the way he's diving.
We just turned around and headed the other way. Now, this is weird that I'm getting all the fish, and the only thing I can attribute to is color. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you think color doesn't make a difference, but I've got silver. And Jim, I think you're using
brass.
Brass. Boy, am I covered in sunscreen. Woo. Even my hands are slipping on my reel here. Tell you what I want to do is bring him over this way if we can.
Okay.
So if you could get...
Oh, I see him down there.
Oh, there he comes. We can all see him. See him coming up? See that hook is just in the side of his mouth. Now, do you think I brought him up too fast?
No.
You don't?
I don't.
I didn't see any bubbles.
No, you'll see a big proof of bubbles if you...
I hate to put fish in a net only because, you know, every time they wrap like that, it's got to take their slime off and...
Mm-hmm.
And I don't... Now, here's what I'm doing. My finger is going underneath, not in the gills, but underneath them. And I'm hoping that by doing this, rather than grab him around the body and get the slime, the only thing is, boy, you gotta, when they start shaking, it's hard to hold on. That little hook was just barely in his body. All right, I'm gonna give you this.
Okay.
Now, you would like to keep him, wouldn't you?
That's the size we eat. But
is it? Did you want to have a dinner later?
No, that'll be fine.
You sure?
We'll see if we can catch some more.
Okay, now I'm going to set him down easy in the water. And again, remember, he came up from deep. So, and I tried to hold him, but he's going back down.
He's okay.
Is he?
Uh-huh.
Is he okay? Boy, I'll tell you what, this is working. And you would have never thought, I'll bet you folks never, ever, ever thought of using a bait like this for trout. And that's why Jim is, you know, when he invented these Thunderhead lures, I had met Jim a year ago at one of the big sports shows in Las Vegas. And Bill Safe, who does Rod and Reel, had come to me and he says, Don, you got to come over. You got to see this. He says, honestly, he says, I think this is going to be the next flying lure. He says, you got to come over and look at it. And so I did. And main reason I'm out here is not so much that, is that Jim was so doggone friendly that I asked him, I said, do you have trout fishing out in Utah? And he says, yeah, we do. And made me think, geez, I've never been out to Utah and we've never shown any of that kind of fishing. So here it's been a couple years and we finally made it out here. Are you going to go to Silver?
Boy, you just about got me wanting to. I'll tell you that.
But that's amazing that it would make that much difference.
I think I'll try a color. I'm going to try that orange one. See if we can.
Okay, let's just look in your tackle box so we can see just the difference in the color. You can see the difference. Seems to make a difference because you were using.
Yeah, I was using the gold or the brass, and that silver's caught everything so far today.
All right, now I want to show you something else. You see on these lures, let me show you again. You see that lip on the front of it. Now, you would think by looking at that that lip would make it dive and go like this, but it's just the opposite, isn't it?
It'll
the lip actually tends to come up and brings your bait up like that. And it keeps the spoon from twisting and turning. It keeps the spoon just kind of wobbling in that one plane. Well, I'm going to get another worm. This is great fun. It really is. And part of what makes it fun is, again, being in a new area. We just had a boat go by, and that's why we're wobbling around here. But being in a new area, but also when you have action. Doesn't matter what you're doing, you got action. That makes it fun, and we're getting a lot of action right now. And we didn't even come out for lake trout. We came out for rainbows, didn't we?
Rainbows and some kokanies, we thought.
Rainbows and kokanies. Well, geez, we've only been out here a short period of time. We've got all day. Maybe we'll get rainbows and kokanies. Who knows? This might be a different fish. This might not be a laker. I can't tell because I've never caught kokanies. But it's fighting different. Oh, I think it is a kokanee. I think it is one. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe we can see it.
Holler when you need the net.
Oh, it is a kokanee.
That's a nice one.
Oh.
Just hang on.
Okay. Oh, this is great. This is wonderful catching this. Don't come out, huh?
Oh, we got him. That's a nice kokanee.
Great.
He's a beauty.
Now, what's a kokanee? Everybody's probably wondering. I guess we're going to keep this fish. This is a kokanee salmon. Now, back home, these fish, when they were in our bodies of water, if you got one 8 to 12 inches, that was considered a really big kokanee. But in this case, out here in Utah, they grow, and in Wyoming, I guess in Colorado, they grow a lot bigger. But you can see that's about how heavy?
Oh, I'd say a little over 1.5 pounds. 2 pounds.
2 pounds anyway. That's a kokanee salmon. Now, the difference in the fight between that and a lake trout is monumental. I'm not saying one is better, but a kokanee goes in horizontal bursts, sideways, whereas a lake trout fights right straight down. Now, let me get this lure out. Show them what we're using here for the kokanees. Now, we knew that there could be kokanees in here, so we put one of Jim's other lures on.
Yeah, he's ready to spawn. He's starting to hook his.
So is he not going to be good to eat?
No, he's beautiful right now.
Okay.
He's perfect.
All right. Uh-oh. I hear thunder, so I want to get out of here. So let me show you real quick what this lure is. That's got a little spinner on it. It's all tangled up. We'll show you about it later. But when you hear thunder out west and lightning, it's a little bit more serious than it is in the east in that it can be really major problems. So we're going to go into shore, eat some lunch, or get out of this thunder or something. Then we'll come out and see if we can catch some more fish. This is really weird now. We're just letting the lure out, and I didn't even put it in the downrigger. It's right on the surface in 175 feet of water, and I've hooked a fish. And it doesn't feel like it's got a lot of weight to it, so it may be a small one, but still I thought it would be fun to see it. Won't even need a net. He's right out in the water here. Oh. Now this time it's a rainbow trout. And the water's so clear that you can see him fighting in there. Gee, they're pretty. So that makes a rainbow trout, and we've got a kokanee, and 2 lakers so far. And that doesn't even include, I think your tippet's strong enough I can just pull him right in here without getting them all tangled in the net. That's a rainbow trout. It's over a foot long, maybe close to 13 or 14, thin. But someday that fish in here is going to be much, much, much bigger as long as we get him back in here and allow him to go away. See, now that bait, that is what caught the kokanee, and we couldn't really show it to you at the time because the storm was moving in, and it's what's caught the rainbow trout. It's a these lures are really special. The special type of lip, for lack of a better word, in the front, and it's shaped very uniquely, and the clip in it pivots just like this, so that, and again, the angle at what that clip pivots also determines. And then it's got a special type of clevis here for the blade. And again, the worm keeper, which is wire wrapped around here. This is what Jim does. He takes a bit of wire, very pliable wire, and wraps it around the hook with little edges sticking out like this. So when you put the worm on, the edges will hold it on and the fish won't steal your bait. Well, you got another piece of worm back there in the worm keep. You're probably wondering why I'm catching all the fish and Jim isn't. Well, it's not that I'm a better fisherman. Believe me, what it is he's doing all the work here in the boat. He's doing downriggers and running the motor and everything. So that's why you see me catching the fish. It's not, again, if he was just out fishing himself, he'd be catching them all. Well, folks, you know, it's pretty amazing to me that you can come out here almost 100 degrees in the middle of July in a big lake like this in Utah and catch trout like we have. And it's only mid-afternoon, but boy, I'll tell you, we picked a day when thunderstorms are really pounding this area. You can do the same thing we did. And even if you come out here to the West on vacation and want to spend a couple days fishing, the most important thing is you got to get down to where the fish are. And you can have a really simple little downrigger like this will do the job for you. Now, this is a manual type system. I'm sure a lot of companies make them, but they can mount on a small boat like this or even a canoe. The other thing that's really critical is some kind of a depth finder like we're using. It doesn't have to be an elaborate, expensive one, but it enables you to know how deep a water you're over, and it shows you if there's groups or pods of fish at different depths. Those two electronic aids, and they can be simple. They don't have to be the most modern, high-tech ones that are on some of the bigger boats. You know, I hope you've enjoyed looking at this beautiful gorge, this beautiful part of our country, and I hope you've enjoyed watching us catch some of the fish we've caught today. You know, Kokanie salmon is not all that common, and that was a real treat for me. I haven't caught one of those in probably 8 or 9 years.